This is the Conscious Hour. Let's talk about Marco Rubio. Let's talk about the young bucks in running our country. Pete Hegseth, I call him Musclehead. But hey, folks, it's really interesting. A certain group of people, I would have to say born in the 70s on up, have missed a whole part of history. And one thing we know about history being taught in the United States, it has nothing to do with the real history around the world. Because every war we've justified, and many of our military think that they were there for a just cause. Start with Vietnam and look at all the wars forward. Now look at where we are. We've got Marco Rubio, who is definitely against Castro. Well, he was from Cuba. He is an American that wanted to take over Cuba. But hey, if just President John F. Kennedy would have had his way and they didn't assassinate him, they would have had a peace agreement with Israel, pardon me, with Cuba. The missiles would have been gone. They would have had a democracy because the people would be independent and they wouldn't be constantly harassed by this pro, we got to get rid of Castro. Let's take over the country. Let's take over Cuba. But now look where we are. We've got Marco Rubio, who's, as Larry Wilkerson will describe, and George and a few others, you'll understand why they're concerned. And these people have been around a long time, kind of like I have. And, Larry Johnson's shooting it straight. Listen to this one.
Well, the other Europeans are definitely not, which makes it all the more surprising their reaction to Rubio's speech uh, by by telecast uh, at the Munich conference the other day. I got the feeling I had been, as George Bush would put it, misunderestimating Rubio. I think he's emerged as a powerful theoretician of empire, and he has a mission. And I would have thought Vance might be a bit nervous about that mission. And his mission is to relaunch uh, the Western colonial empires, to halt the reversals of what he called communist-inspired colonial uprising. By definition, though he didn't name them, roll back the BRICS, roll back the SCO, reconquer, uh, essentially, reconquer all the ground that has been lost since the Second World War. And the Europeans were up clapping it like seals, standing ovation. What was your reaction?
Same as yours. I thought, Yogi Berra, the old catcher of the New York Yankees, used to say, "This is deja vu all over again."
The reality is, this is really scary stuff, folks. We have a bunch of young people who have been paid off by Netanyahu, by the Zionists, to do one thing. The Zionists already own most of the banking system around the world. They want to take control of the entire area, the region. And so they're using these young bucks as pigeons, meaning they'll just fly them anywhere because we're going to win this war. And the reality is, there's no way the US can come out ahead when they strike Iran. It's impossible. And I'll explain why. What's coming is we've got our fleet. We're waiting for the Gerald R. Ford, the aircraft carrier, to come in. That will mean 3 aircraft carriers, and how many destroyers, I have no idea. Tons of them. We've got our B-52s and all the other stealth things moved into all the different regions. We're stockpiling. We're getting ready for that major war. And you know what will happen? Well, the Navy thinks that their ships are protected. Well, apparently the Navy know about what there is now available. They have the ability, Iran, with the help of the Chinese and others, to completely take everything out in the water, sink the ships. Imagine what it would cost to rebuild a aircraft carrier. $1 trillion. Imagine how many people will die. Imagine how many people will die in Israel. Because once they launch their weapons, i.e., Israel or the US strikes first, Iran has said very clearly, and the West doesn't report this, Their missiles run between 12 and 16 Mach. That's the speed. They could deliver 500 missiles all at the same time, marked for every strategic point in Israel. And within 2 to 3 minutes, it's gone. Gone. Wiped off the face of the map. Gone. Not a nuclear war, a strategic war with hypersonic missiles that will blow everything up. But you know what's going to happen? There's going to be, maybe, I pray I'm wrong, a doomsday effect where Netanyahu realizes how bad he's going to hit and he detonates nukes. But don't forget, folks, every one of the U.S. military bases that are in striking distance of not only Iran, but the other countries like Yemen, etc., they will all be hit. So the total cost of this thing could be in the hundreds of trillions of dollars, a destabilization of the whole effort to grow the global economy. And don't worry about BRICS. BRICS is independent, and that's why they broke away. And you know what'll happen next? The falling and crash of the US dollar, because we've been ripped off, folks, by Israel, by the Zionists controlling our Congress for way too long. And I'm sorry about the expression, but karma's a bitch, and it ain't going to sacrifice themselves, meaning out there, Israel will be sacrificed, but we aren't going to sacrifice back here in America. Oh, yeah, we will. We're going to be in deep doo doo, the entire country, because of this escalation. Why? Greed and old world mentality. This is the Conscious Hour. Please tune in, turn on, please share and like, and pray that we can stop this. But nope, this train's gone out of the station and it's rolling down the tracks, and it's just a matter of, well, according to Larry, they'll be there this weekend. So stay tuned. I'll be covering everything that I can put out here. And I watch a lot of news. I spend 12 hours a day surfing everything that's going on, knowing that we're coming down to these final moments. Yep. Pray to God we all can live through it. Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour.